Okay, this is our video number two. Video number two on PSAT. And this is going to be problems number 7. And we'll go through all the end of the multiple choice to 13. And let's see how we go. Hopefully you have your test available. We're looking at this problem 7. To cut a lawn, Alan charges a fee of $15 for equipment, $8.50 per hour. Taylor, $12 for equipment and $9.25 per hour. X is number of hours. What are the values where Taylor, which is the second guy, is greater than Alan's charge? Okay, so let's try this one with algebra. We can do this without algebra again, but here's the algebra equation that we'll want. We'll do Taylor first. So Taylor was $12 plus $9.25 per hour. X is number of hours, and that is supposed to be larger than Alan's fee of $15 for the equipment plus $8.50 per hour. Okay, and we have no calculator. We have to figure out values of X that make this true. Okay, let's do a little bit of arithmetic. We'll move the $8.50 this way, and we'll move the 12 that way. So 9 1/4 take away $8.50 is 75 cents times X, and 12 from 15 leaves 3. Okay, if you don't like the idea of the decimals, you can multiply by 100, and if we multiply by 100, that would be 75X, and multiply this by 100, 300, and now we just have to solve for X. So X has to be bigger than 300 divided by 75. Again, no calculator, so hopefully you can do this. I'll just do long division here. 75 goes into 300. If you look at your choices, it may give you a clue. 4 is one of the numbers. The answer is A, by the way. So let's just try 4 and see what happens. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry 2, sure enough. Okay, so X has got to be bigger than 4, and A is the correct choice. If you wanted to try this without algebra, what you might want to do is just pick a number for X. Like, how long does it take to cut a grass? 3 hours, maybe? Well, 3 would be not one of the choices we have here. So we have to pick a number of hours that's either bigger than 4, between 3 and 4, between 4 and 5, or less than 3. And since A is the first choice, we don't know that's the answer yet. Let's pick a number bigger than 4, but also bigger than 5. So let's say it took us 6 hours to cut the lawn, and just see whether or not choice A works. Okay, so we're assuming X is 6. So if this actually was 6 hours, will that work? So now we don't know whether it works, but let's try. So we have 12 plus 925 times 6 is supposed to be bigger than 15 plus 850 times 6. Okay, and if that's true, then 6 is a good value for X, and looking at the choices, it would have to be choice A. So here's the arithmetic. Let's say we're going to have to multiply 9 1/4 by 6. 9 1/4 by 6. Off to the side. So 0 and 3 and 1, 55. Okay, so 5550 plus 12. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and subtract off the 12 right off the bat. And on this side, we have 850 by 6, 850 by 6, 0 and 3, 51. Okay, so $51. Whoops, it's not a bigger than, that's a plus 51. So the question is this true? Again, we don't know whether or not this is true, but sure enough, it is. 5550 is bigger than 5550 is bigger than 54. Check. So the number 6 is a good answer, and so it is choice A. Okay, let's go to problem 8. Equation above is used to model the relationship between number of cups in of hot chocolate sold and the average temperature T according to the model. What's the meaning of 3 in the equation? Okay, Well, we've got these four choices. You can try this algebraically if you like. For this one, I'm going to, let's just pick a number for t. So we're going to do arithmetic here. We're going to pick a number for t and see whether or not we can make sense of what's going on. Okay, so new screen. Here's the number of cups of chocolate. According to this, it's 456 minus 3t. And t could be the temperature. Let's suppose it's the middle of July, and I say t is going to be 100 degrees. 100 degrees. Wow, really hot day. Are we going to sell any chocolate? Well, according to this model, we will. We sell 456 minus 300 cups of chocolate. So you could do that pretty easily. That's 156 cups. Wow. I don't believe people buy hot chocolate if the temperature is 100 degrees, but according to this model, they do. So in 156. Now let's suppose the temperature changes. Let's suppose the temperature just goes up 1 degree. So now the temperature is 101 degrees. How many cups of chocolate do we sell? Well, N will be 456, but now it's minus 303, right? Because we're making the temperature 101. So 3 times 101 is 303. And now the number of cups of chocolate is 153. 153. So we sell less chocolate, which I suppose makes sense. It's warmer. We're not going to sell as much. What happened? We went from 156 down to 153. That's when the temperature went from 100 to 101. Go back to the problem. Read the choices, right? And let's see, the choice, let's see, if we look at choice C, for every 1 degree of temperature, 3 more cups of chocolate will be sold. 3 more? Is that what happened? We went up 1 and no, we didn't go up 3. We actually went down 3. So it's not choice C, but let's look at choice D. For every decrease in 1 degree temperature, 3 more cups of hot chocolate will be sold. Look at your work. If we went from 101 down to 100, that's dropping 1 degree, the number of cups of chocolate did go up. The correct answer here is, in fact, D as in dog. Okay, let's go to the truck problem. Truck enters a stretch of road, drops 4 meters in elevation for every 100 meters along the length. The road is at 1,300 meters altitude, right? When the truck entered, and the truck is traveling along 16 meters per second along the road, what's the elevation of the road in meters at the point where the truck passes t seconds after entering the road? So this looks like a complicated problem. Problems of this type, what you should probably do is just pick a number for t. I wouldn't pick 1. If we look at the choices, if t is 100 seconds, choice A becomes 1,300 minus 4. Choice B becomes 1,300 minus 64. Choice C becomes 1,300 minus 400, and choice D comes 1,300 minus 1,600. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this problem like t is equal to 10 seconds. So if t is, 100 seconds, that will allow us to move the decimal point 2 places. So choice A now becomes 1,300 minus, we're going to move that 2 places, so that's just 4. Choice B becomes 1,300 minus 64. Choice C becomes 1,300 minus 400. And choice D, we're down in Death Valley now because it's 1,300 minus 1,600. You might want to throw that one out right off the bat. It doesn't make a lot of sense to have a negative 300 meter elevation. I don't think there's any place on Earth that's that low. Let's get a little sketch going. We know the road's going down. We know it's going down. And we know that at this level, we're at 1,300. What we have to figure out is how high is it after the truck has gone 100 seconds. 100 seconds. So 100 seconds is going this way. 100 seconds. 100 seconds, Joe. And we know, according to the problem, it drops 4 meters for every 100 meters along the road. 4 meters for every 100 meters. So this goes down 4 if this is 100 going this way, 100 meters. Okay? So there's a little triangle there. And we're going for 100 seconds. How far do we drop? Well, you know that we have a little disconnect here between meters and seconds. But let's see. The truck is traveling 16 meters per second. Well, if we're doing 100 seconds, because we chose that to make these numbers nice, and we're going 16 meters per second, okay, that looks like, cancel the seconds, that means in 100 meters, or in 100 seconds, we actually go 1,600 meters, 1,600 meters. Okay. So if this were 1,600 meters, how far would we drop? Well, it's just 16 times that, which is 64. So 1,300 take away 16 times 4. Okay. And so 1,300 take away 64, and that's going to be choice B. Okay. Interesting problem. Number 10. Let's go to 10. We have f of x minus 1. Here's 10. F of x minus 1 is 2x plus 3. What's the value of f of negative 3? This is more of a understanding what function notation means. They give us this, x minus 1, and they tell us that is equal to 2x plus 3. And then they ask, what would f of negative 3 be? So the idea, of course, is to make these things the same. Okay, so if the item in the parentheses, if the x minus 1 really was equal to negative 3, which is what we're trying to say, then it's, I think, pretty clear that x has got to be equal to negative 2. And now we can put that right in there. And so if x minus 1 is equal to negative 3, then x is equal to negative 2, and f of x minus 1, which is now f of 3, is going to be equal. You just put negative 2 right there. So negative 4 plus 3, which is choice D, negative 1. Difficult problem if you don't understand function notation, but after seeing an example, hopefully you'd be able to navigate that one again. Okay, let's go to number 13. Here's 13. Number 11. Which of the following is equivalent to s minus t times s divided by t? We have all of these expressions in here. You can do this with algebra. I'll do it with algebra, and then I'll also do it with numbers. Okay? So the first choice is know your algebra. The second choice is just pick some numbers and do arithmetic. You can do it either way. Here's the expression, s minus t, s divided by t. Okay, if we know our algebra and we multiply here, we get s squared over t, take away st over t, okay? And then hopefully you realize you can go ahead and cancel the t's, and you end up with s squared over t minus s, and you're done. That's choice C. Now let's suppose we're a little bit weak on our algebra and we want to do this with arithmetic. So in this approach, you just pick numbers for s. I'm going to let s be equal to 10, and I'm going to let t be equal to 2. Now, why did I choose those numbers? You can actually choose any numbers. I would avoid numbers like 0, 1. But notice that in this problem, we do have s divided by t, and I wanted that to be a nice fraction, s minus t here. Okay, so what we've said is I've chosen s is 10 and t is 2. So this becomes 10 over 2, that's just the number 5, and this becomes 10 minus 2, which is just the number 8. T minus 2, which is the number 8. So we have 8 times 5, and the answer is obviously 40. Now, look at the choices. One of these choices has to be 40. You say, well, none of them are all 40. They all have S's and T's. But remember, we know what S and T are. So let's see if we can go ahead and look at choice A. Choice A says it's supposed to be S over T minus S. Well, that would be 10 over 2 take away 10, which is 5 take away 10. That's negative 5, and that's not 40. So we can eliminate choice A. Oops, where are we? We can eliminate choice A is wrong. Okay, let's go to choice B. Choice B says it's supposed to be S over T minus ST. S over T minus ST. This is choice B. But for our numbers, that's 10 over 2 minus 10 times 2 is 20. So 5 take away 20, which is negative 15, which is not 40. That's the wrong answer. Remember, we have to get 40. That's what we're looking for. Let's go to choice C. We know choice C is the right answer. Choice C says S squared over T minus S. S squared over T minus S. Okay, for our numbers, that becomes 100, right? 10 squared is 100, divided by 2, take away 10. Sure enough, that's 50 take away 10, which is 40, and that's the right answer. We don't have to go any further. Now, again, when you see this for the first time, you get a little leery. Is this legal? Absolutely, this is legal. You can pick any numbers you want for S and T, and if it works, then that is the right choice. You don't have to do any algebra whatsoever. Okay? Just to show that, we'll do this one more time. I'll pick other numbers for S and T. Let's pick 16 and how about 8? 16 and 8. Well, let's see. Yeah, why not? 16 and 8. Okay, so if S is 16 and T is 8, this becomes 16 divided by 8, which is 2. And this becomes 16 minus 8, which is 8. So 8 times 2, which is 16. Our answer has to be 16. Go look at the choices. Only one of those answers will be 16. So if we go down and check choice C, remember, is S squared over T minus S. That will be 16. So let's just double check. 16 squared, excuse me, that's 256. Divided by 8 minus 16 will work out to be 16. So I suppose we should go ahead and try that just to verify. 16 times 16. 16 times 6 times 6 is 6. Carry 3, 9, and 1. 196. 196 divided by 8 minus 16 is supposed to be 16. I'm putting a question mark there. So 198 divided by 8, let's see, 8 goes into 198, 16 with, right, 38, something's not right. That's supposed to work out to be 32. Oh, I can't. Let's try this one more time, Joe. Sorry on the misread here. Okay, we chose S squared over T minus S. We know it's choice C, and again, we have S is 16 and T is 8. So 16 divided by 8 is 2. 16 minus 8 is 8. 8 by 2 is 16. The answer has to be 16. 16 squared. 16 times 16, 6 and 3, 9 and 16. 256. I guess I should do my multiplication right. So 256 divided by 8 is going to be 3, 24, 1, 6, 2, 32. So this works out to be 32, and 32 take away 16 is equal to 16. Got it. If you like algebra, do algebra. If you don't like algebra, do arithmetic, assuming you can multiply without a calculator. Okay, so problem 12. Here's problem 12. This is about a polynomial. We have this strange polynomial. K is a constant. P of x is divisible by x. What is K? Well, this is going to be an interesting problem. Let's do algebra first and then see if we can reason through this if we didn't do any algebra. So for the algebra, we've got 3 times x squared plus 10x plus 5, take away 5x minus k, like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and distribute. Flump, flump, flump. That gives us 3x squared plus 30x plus 15. And then on this end, we've got minus 5x and then plus 5k. You just got to be a little careful. Minus 5 times minus k is plus 5k. Okay, and we'll clean this up just a little bit, collect like terms. So 3x squares, notice we've got 30x's, take away 5x's, that's 25x's. And then we have this constant. The constant is 15 plus 5k. That's a constant, doesn't have an x in it, and that's a constant. So this is the constant that we have. Now what did the problem say? This whole kit and caboodle is evenly divisible by x. Like if we divide x into it, everything works out nice. Well, x goes into that, x goes into that, but x does not go into this. This has got to be 0. So what we want is 15 plus 5k to be equal to 0, and hopefully you can see 5k minus 15, k is minus 3. What happens if k is minus 3? The problem now looks like this: 3x squared plus 25x, and then plus 0, don't need to write that, and that is evenly divisible by x, right? X goes into all the pieces, 3x plus 25. So the key here was just make the constant equal to 0. So we have k is negative 3. Now, if you didn't want to do the algebra, or if you didn't want to reason it this way, you could try this by just picking a number for k. Pick a number for k. They do have 4 options. So if you pick the first option, let's just see what happens. Let's suppose we didn't know the answer was negative 3, but we said, I think k is going to be negative 3. Okay, now the problem becomes this: 3 times x squared plus 10x plus 5, take away 5 times x, be careful, plus 3, because you're subtracting now a negative 3, which is positive 3. Okay, so this is now equal to 3x squared plus 30x plus 15, take away 5x, take away 15, and sure enough, that is evenly divisible by x because the constants, 15, the constants go away, right? So plus 0, evenly divisible by x. The answer is A. Okay, the hardest problem of all the multiple choice was problem 13. And it depends on whether or not you've had Algebra 2, whether or not this one seems easy. Here's problem 13. It talks about a plane with a parabola and the equation y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And it goes through the point -1, 1, which of the following must be true. Okay, so here's the idea. The parabola ax squared plus bx plus c goes through this ordered pair -1, 1, which means algebraically this is the x number and this is the y number, and they have to work in the equation. So we put those numbers in. The y works out to be -1. The a times, y works out to be +1. The a times -1 squared plus b times -1 plus c. Okay, so again, what I've done, everywhere there's an x, I put a -1, and then this has to be true. So if we clean that up, we get 1 is equal to a minus b plus c. And if you look at choice D, that's exactly what we've got. A minus b plus c has to equal 1. D is the answer. Okay, that's the end of the multiple guess. I'm going to stop the video here, and then we'll do another video on the grid ends. And there's only 4 of those, so that video will be much shorter I hope this is being useful. Sorry they're running so long.